Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Mav and Claw Show. I'm Mav.
I'm Carl. Howdy, howdy.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I had a good day today.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice day today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got some work done at work. Got some work done
Done
at
at home. Yeah.
Good
It was
day.
cool.
Good day.
It was. I guess we're gonna do another strange and unusual.
Yeah, people are asking about that.
Well, the problem is we're running out of stories.
Well, I mean, honestly, I got a bunch of them. I really do. I just have to sit and think about them.
Yeah,
But we were talking earlier, and we both have stories about our kids and ghosts and stuff. So
yeah.
I'm gonna let you lead with that.
Yeah, so we're gonna give you some of those ghost stories, but I know everybody likes it and they love hearing about other people's stories. We're just running out of them, you know.
Yeah.
So I know your mom sent us one.
Yeah. Yes,
About
she did.
your mom and your aunt were in a cemetery. And they went over by a mausoleum, and it was locked or something, and they couldn't get in.
Yeah, well, I mean, mausoleums are locked.
Yeah, and they
So-
said they were walking. They were kind of making jokes or making fun about things,
Yeah.
and they heard a loud crash, and they couldn't.
From the inside.
No,
No?
just around them, and they
Oh.
couldn't figure out what it was.
Yeah,
So
I
they
didn't.
got
I
back to
didn't
the
read the
car.
story, Mom.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like he told me about it, but I was half asleep after work. But
Yeah, they made it back to your aunt's car, I guess, and they drove down to a gas station or something, and your aunt's car had a massive dent
oh
in the
yeah,
side.
yeah. She told me about that.
Yeah, and there was like nothing there.
Yeah. Like they was
Yeah.
like they was being told to get out by the.
Yeah, pretty much.
You
Yeah.
know, like because
Yeah.
what would have done that in a cemetery?
Right, exactly.
I mean, there was nobody else in there. You know, so
yeah, so I mean,
that's a little spooky. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it wasn't an animal. There would have been signs
Yeah.
of that. You know,
oh yeah. Well, how
fur
would
or
an
anything,
animal
right?
dent
A
the
deer,
side of a car?
a deer.
you
I can
know?
see a deer doing that.
Yeah, but if a
But deers
deer,
aren't like goats. They don't ram things.
right.
You know, so
Yeah.
or not goats, but rams. You know.
Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty free. But I mean, you and I both.
Yeah, imagine already being spooked out because you're by this mausoleum and it's
Yeah.
locked up and everything, and you're trying to like look inside and whatever.
Right, right.
I had a story about a mausoleum. So, oh man, the cemetery that I talked about in another podcast.
Yeah.
It's a real big cemetery. It's got this mausoleum, and on top it says Holmes, Holmes. And every time I walk by it, me and my little brother were like, "What's up, Holmes?" You know. But so when I was young, I was probably maybe 15 or 16. I was in there with some buddies, and it has a chain on it and a lock and whatever, and it had stained glass, and the glass was green. It was like an eerie green color.
Yeah, yeah. The like emerald green, and it's real spooky, like
Yeah.
smoky.
Yeah, that's what color it always was.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so we went in there this one time, and we noticed the glass was blue, and I was like, it was like a real dark, like them blue bottles, you know,
Yeah.
the blue glass bottles.
Yeah.
It was like that, and so I went up to it and I was checking it out, and I noticed that the chain was unlocked,
Hmm.
and it was just hanging there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was through the door, so nobody was in there. Like, how
Right.
they gonna get in there and then lock?
Right.
You know. So the chain's hanging, and I told my buddy, I was like, hey man, let's go in there, and he was like, no, you know, he didn't want to.
Do
So
you blame him?
I'm getting closer to it, and then something banged on the door, dude, like from the inside. I was like, no, I took off, man.
Right.
And we went in there the next night, and you know, we mustered up the guts to
The courage.
the courage to go up to it, and we opened it up and looked in there, and there wasn't nothing in there, but you know, there was the sarcophagus or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It was a family in there,
Right.
and we didn't see nothing, but man, the feeling, dude. And
Yeah.
I felt like I was not welcome, you know, like
Yeah.
I felt like there was somebody there being like, get out of here. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You
Yeah.
better get out of here. This is my family. I'm protecting them.
Yeah.
And that was a
See, now,
spooky feeling,
I've been
man.
to a lot of places that maybe I didn't see or hear anything, but the feeling you get
Yeah.
You know, because it's not just a matter of what you see or hear.
Yeah, it's a
You're
feeling too.
yeah.
And whatever you're thinking and you're like hearing in your head, that's a real thing, dude. Like,
Oh yeah.
that's not your subconscious. That's their way of communicating. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean, I've been to some places that like
sometimes you feel
you're
threatened.
just creeped out.
Yeah, sometimes you feel threatened. Sometimes you just creeped out.
Yep.
Sometimes it's calm. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
it just depends on the spirit.
it's,
You know, what kind of mood they're in.
I mean, your body reacts to what's around you.
Yep.
You may not see it, but your body does react to those.
Yeah,
things.
those goosebumps you get, the hairs that stand up on your neck.
Those are real things.
That's a real thing, man. Like,
oh yeah,
that's energy around you that's making that happen. If you get too close to electricity,
yeah,
it's the same feeling.
Static electricity.
Yeah, it's the same feeling, and that's what a spirit is it's energy.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, you should always listen to that voice in your head.
excuse me.
You know what I mean? I've heard a lot of people talk about how, they were scared and they knew they shouldn't have went in, but they went in and they regretted it instantly.
And sometimes it feels like your stomach drops, like you're on a roller coaster.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh man, like dude,
this is
we
not,
gotta go, man.
Yeah, this ain't right. Let's get out of here. You
So,
know. But
yeah,
and I think kids are more susceptible
yeah,
to what's around them.
Yeah,
You know, their little minds are just bombarded with chemicals. You know what I mean?
right,
Whereas as you get older, you don't have a lot of that.
right, yeah.
But they can see and hear things that I
You're
don't
kind
think
of like
we can.
trained to block it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You got people, adults say, "Oh, that's not real. It's not
Right.
real. It's imaginary friends," and things like that. But
Mhm.
I don't think them imaginary friends are always so imaginary.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't
but-
either. I think sometimes they can be more real to them than you or me.
Yeah.
You know, they just
I had an imaginary friend I played with when I was a kid, and I still remember him, man. Like he was as real as could be,
right.
as real as could be. His name was Max.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I played with Max all the time. Got in trouble a few times and all kinds of stuff. But
I mean,
my daughter, so my daughter would always, in the place, our trailer park got torn down so they could build a casino there. And everybody in the park always had ghost stories and everything. And
Right.
I noticed stuff happening in my house all the time. I would hear people whistling, like right here in the air. It was just a whistle.
right.
And I'm like looking, I'm like, did you hear that? And people are looking like, yeah, man, what was that? I was like, somebody freaking whistled, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I remember one night, my daughter was in bed, and me and her mom was sitting in the living room, and we heard this loud smack, just,
yeah.
And then my daughter started screaming.
Right.
I went in there, man, and she had a big handprint on her back, and I mean big handprint. Like here's my hand, and I'm 5'11", you know, so that's a normal size hand right here. This hand was like this much bigger than mine. It was a huge handprint on her back, dude. I was like, what the heck? And dude, it would mess around in her room all the time.
Yeah.
And so here's my living room, and then this is another night. This is another story. And here's my living room. Our couch was against the wall, and here's a little hallway, and there's her bedroom. We could see her door. We could see inside her room. And then right before her room on the left is a bathroom. So she gets up one day, and she liked to play in the bathroom every time she went. She was real little. I'm talking like 5'4", something like that.
Yeah.
And man, she got up one day, and she was like, "Daddy, can I use the bathroom?" And she was standing there smiling, you know. And I was like, "Yeah, go ahead. It's right there, you know." And so, I told her, I said, "Don't be in there playing because it's supposed to be bedtime, you know."
Right.
I was like, "Don't be in there playing. You gotta go to sleep." And then so she goes in the bathroom, and a few minutes go by, and I hear her giggling and playing. I hear stuff moving around, like, you know, she's playing with something in there. And dude, I was like, "Hey, quit playing in there." I heard her giggling and everything, and you know the noise stopped for a few minutes, and then she started again. And I was like, "All right, that's it. Here I come." So I get up and I go down the hallway, and as soon as I get to where the bathroom is, all the noise and giggling and everything just stopped. It was dead silent, and I felt spooked out. And I looked in the bathroom. She wasn't in there. I looked in her room and she was in her bed sleeping. She never got up. She never one time got up out of her bed. She never went to the bathroom. And I looked at her clothes. I noticed her clothes that she was wearing was not the same clothes that she was wearing when she went to the bathroom.
Right.
And her mom even was like, after all that happened, and I told her, she was like, I don't even remember her having that outfit.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, come to think of it, me neither.
Hmm.
And then I went back in there, and I swear, dude, there was little kid feet prints in the bathtub, and they were muddy.
Yeah.
I was just like, what the hell, man? Like, dude, that creeped me to.
Well, I mean, where that used to be, I remember learning when I was in school that a lot of that area belonged to the Native Americans there.
Right.
And a lot of it was Native American burial ground.
Right, but still, like, that took like the form of my kid.
Dude. That's what they can. I mean, you and I both have heard stories how they can do that.
Yeah, so, true, I guess. But I heard malevolent spirits do that. Like,
well, I mean,
like malicious.
It could have been doppelgangers. It could
something, man. But I was creeped out, man. Like, I had all kinds of stuff happening.
Yeah. Well, my daughter.
Oh, we got up one night and everything that had a door or a drawer was open. Our front door and back door was open. I
remember you calling
everything me. In the house was open.
I remember you
that happened
calling
a few
to
times.
tell me that.
Yeah, that happened
dude,
a few
you're
times.
not going to believe this.
Yep. Man, dude, it was...
I remember that phone call, yes, very vividly.
And, I used to be a heavy drinker. And so when people drink, it makes your mind feeble. And it makes easy access for spirits. There was times that I was in that trailer and I would drink. And I would be drunk and slurring. I was popped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was hammered.
Yeah.
And there was no way I could get up and walk straight or anything, I would get up and fall down,
Right.
But there was been a couple times when I was living in that trailer where I was drunk. And my girl was like, last night you were drunk. And I was like, yeah, I know. And she's like, well, something happened. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, out of nowhere, you were just somebody else.
Yeah.
You were talking perfectly fine, but using words I wouldn't normally use.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that, and I was talking normal and I was walking straight and everything, and I was telling her, like, because she started yelling at me or something. I'm trying to remember because I was drunk and I don't remember, but this is what she told me. She said that she was starting to, like, tell me that I was being annoying and I needed to stop and calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever took over was telling her, like, hey, don't worry, I got him.
Yeah.
And like this spirit or whatever was telling her to not yell at him because you're gonna make him mad and that's not gonna be good.
Right.
You don't want to make a drunk person mad.
Right.
And I was talking to her straight, normal, and everything, and I have no recollection of that. But yeah, and another time I was speaking in another language.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to speak that language, but I was speaking German, and another time I was speaking Chinese.
Yeah.
And I did that in front of my little brother, and he was looking up what I was saying, and I was talking about like Hitler and stuff like that. And I've never heard Hitler's speech or anything. He said I said a big part of his speech in German, dude, and I don't even know German.
Right.
I know a couple words from listening to Rammstein or whatever, but they don't talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like spirits they're everywhere. They're they're attracted to me, man. I don't know what it is about me, but they are attracted to me, dude.
Like I said the other day, if only they had those glasses where you could see what was going on around you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the question is, would you really want to?
Yeah, I would.
That's the whole thing. I mean, you might see things you can't unsee.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, like grotesqueness and stuff.
Yeah, you can't unsee those bad things. And trust me when I say there's some things you just don't want to see, you know. But my daughter was about a year old. She's 29 now. Her mom and I was sitting in the living room and she was playing in her bedroom. And she says, okay, I'll be careful. And I look at her mom, and she says, okay, I said I would be careful. And her mom's like, who is she talking to? And I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
So I get up and I go in there and I says, baby, who are you talking to? And when I look at where she is in her room, she's climbing. She had a recliner, a little baby recliner.
Yeah.
She's climbing up on top of the recliner to climb onto the dresser, which is near the glass in her window.
Oh, wow.
And I said, what are you doing? Well, I'm climbing up here. I said, who are you talking to? Well, the little boy, Daddy. What little boy?
Right.
The little boy standing right there, and she even points to him.
Right.
He lives in my closet. And I was like,
yeah, let's get out of here.
You know what I mean? And,
wow.
I mean, okay, another night, you know the sounds of your house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
everybody knows their sounds.
You know the sounds of your house. I was sleeping, and she woke me up, and she says, someone's in the house. I'm like, what? She says, someone's in the house. I hear them walking up and down the hallway to our bedroom door. So I'm just going to say I had a weapon. And I get the weapon. And she goes, my buddy lived right down the road, so she ran to his house. And I'm going through the house with my weapon. And we go through that house, dude, up, down, forward, backwards, every closet, every room. And the only reason and I'm not saying there wasn't something there. What I'm saying is I laid there for a minute when she said it.
Right.
And I could hear the footsteps right by the bedroom door. And then it goes back down the hallway, like through my living room. I can hear it. I know there's somebody there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we go through every closet, no stone was left unturned. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there was no one there, dude. It was crazy.
Wow, that is crazy.
So, I mean, sometimes things happen and you can't see and you
can't explain.
Yeah, but you know.
Darn well what you heard, you know.
Yeah, and every fiber of your being tells you what's going on. Like there is something here, but you're not seeing it, you know.
Oh man, I had something happen with one of my exes, and I think this was when I was living in Hobart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with my son's mom. We're laying in bed, and okay, so I don't care who knows. I'm afraid of the dark. I don't sleep with in the dark. I sleep with some kind of light has to be on, whether it be a TV or a nightlight or something. I have to have a light on,
right?
Because I see things in the dark. I see shadow people and stuff like that. Well, we were laying in bed, and she started snoring, and that's like right when she fell asleep. The TV went off. I guess because some TVs do that, and I thought that was weird because it either it never did before or I never stayed awake that long to where it did.
Right.
Yeah. But the TV went off, man, and I'm laying there. I'm kind of froze a little bit. I got this creepy feeling, and man, I swear it felt like somebody came right up next to the bed. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking around, and I don't see no shadow person or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But then right in my ear, man, it was you know how you can tell the difference between a male and a female breathing?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this was a female, and she was just right in my ear, like,
yeah.
And I was like, babe, I'm hitting my girl, I'm like, hey, babe, and she ain't waking up. I'm like, babe, I'm yelling, babe. She cannot hear me.
Right.
And then that is still right in my ear while I'm screaming, and she just,
yeah.
And dude, I got so creeped out. Finally, I yanked off the covers off of her, and I pushed her out of the bed, dude. And I was like, turn on the light. Dude, I was scared shitless, dude. Whatever was in my ear, bro, was not friendly, bro. And
right.
Man, she was pissed off to say the least, dude. Like, because I pushed her out of the bed. I was like, "You're by the light. I couldn't reach it. You had to get up, man." Like, but I told her what happened, and she was like, "Oh, that's messed up." And she said that she heard some shit like that, not a few nights before, breathing and stuff. But it wasn't in her ear though.
Right.
She could just hear it in the room, like.
Yeah, it's
like, man, right in your ear though, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, like get away from me, man. Like I don't even like when real people do that. Don't do that.
that's. I think I've told this story about when I went to the garage and I felt her hair and I felt the breath on my ear. That happened to me, dude.
Up, man. Like,
I felt the hair go down my neck.
I heard a moan in my ear once. I told on another podcast. That thing was loud in my ear. It was.
It's one of those things that will startle you, especially when you're not expecting it.
Exactly. Like I wasn't thinking about ghosts or anything, dude. Like it just happened.
I wasn't either. I was just walking out to the garage to get in the car.
Yeah. I hate when I catch glimpses of them in reflections and stuff like that. I remember quite a few reflection ghosts. Like, it's like right when I notice them is right when they turn away and walk away, and all you see is like their hair or something, and like a little bit of their profile, I'm like, man, I know that somebody wasn't just looking at me while I'm in my room, in my house, and then, like you said, you go and look everywhere in the house, there's nobody in there, man.
No. Yeah. And it's crazy because you know what you heard and you know what you saw and
felt,
I my brother, and if you remember, I told this in like one of the first Strange and Unusuals about the whole town that was built in the middle of the cornfield.
Yeah.
Well, my brother begged me to take him. Okay. And I told him the rules because with the film crew and doing all that, I said, look, if, 2 people come in, 2 people go out. You do not leave each other because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
He did not believe about the stories and he didn't believe the video. He thought, no, it's fake. So I took him. We go into the main hallway and it's weird. It's like an octagon. I called it the octagon because it had hallways branched off in different directions. It was weird. And then directly in front is a stairwell. It goes up like maybe 12, 13 steps, and then there's a platform, and then it comes back up this way, right? So it's one stairwell, platform, stairwell up. And so we go in through the doorway window right there, which puts us right in the octagon, in the dead center of this building.
Okay.
It's daylight. My brother and I, we go up the stairs. He's with me. We get upstairs on the second floor. We make it 2 feet. One of the doors absolutely slams as hard as it could shut. And it was loud. Something started coming down the hallway. I turn around. My brother is already gone. Okay, and you know my brother.
Yeah.
He's already gone. He jumped, dude, he didn't even use the steps. He jumped 13 steps down onto the platform.
Wow.
And 13 steps down again to the center of the hall.
Got down them stairs in 2 steps.
And I finally get out, like, downstairs at the window, and he is, dude, he said, I said, dude, you can't leave me. I told you that.
Right.
I don't care, bro. I ain't going back in there. Nope. Not me. I said, man, you told me it wasn't real. He's like, no, I don't ever want to go back in there. No.
Wow.
So he was terrified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I tried telling him, dude, this place is not, it just was not a good place. It's one of those places that when you just look at, your body tells you, don't do this.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
crazy.
But he left me.
Dude, I got left by a friend. So, okay, so you know what? We talked about Rita Road before.
Yeah.
And I said that I never really saw it. I was like, something did happen once. And it was so strange, man. So it was me and you remember my buddy Paul, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was me and him and a bunch of other people. We went.
Yeah.
We was going to go check out Reeder Road,
Right.
and see if we could see anything. So it's real late at night. It's dark out and whatever. And so we're traveling down the road, and we get off into some woods a little bit.
Yeah.
And we got separated. Me and Paul did from the rest of the group.
Yeah.
And so there was a road that crossed the road, that Reeder Road.
Yeah.
And there was a house with a porch light on, and there was a cop at the house. Let me take that back. The cop stopped our group that we got separated from and told them to leave.
Right.
Okay. And me and Paul was like, I'm not going out there while a cop is out there because,
right.
We had some substance on us that
right.
we got in trouble for if we got caught with the cops, And so they leave, and this like old lady or whatever, this cop's talking to this lady with the house with the porch light on. And they're sitting there talking forever, man. And the cops like siren, like lights are on, but not the siren. The lights are on, and it's red and blue flashing, and we can see the house, but we can't. We never saw the cop. Okay, body. We never seen his person,
Right.
And we never seen the lady, but we can hear them talking.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just chit chatting like they know each other.
Right.
And me and him is sitting there, and while we're sitting in the woods, we hear something walking around us, and I kind of figured it was like maybe an animal, probably a coyote or something,
Yeah.
And but we never heard the animal walk away. It just stopped, and finally Paul's like, "Screw this! I'm getting out of here. I don't care if there's a cop out there or not." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. Screw it. Let's go." Dude, we get onto this road, and there is no road where we saw a road earlier.
Right.
It was no road. It was just a path.
Right.
And there was the lights from the cop car stopped, and there was no house. There was no cop. There was no old woman. There was nothing. There was
right.
nothing. That we were in the middle of the woods, bro.
Right.
And it was just another crossing path from another old road.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing there, so we left, and then the next day the group we got separated from was like, "What happened to you guys, man?" And we was like, "Well, when the cops told you guys to leave and blah blah blah, we didn't want to get busted with the green that we had on us and whatever." And so we sat there, and they was like, "We didn't get stopped by no cop. What are you talking about?" We was like, "Dude, we heard you guys talking to the cops and him telling you you're not allowed to be on that road and everything." And they was like, "Dude, that never happened." He's like, "We got separated somehow, and you guys just disappeared. We couldn't find you. We were screaming for you and yelling
right.
for you, and they were like feet from us, I guess."
Oh wow!
And we couldn't hear them or see them or anything. That happens a lot. Like there's like a divider,
especially on Reeder Road.
Yeah, man. And dude, I've got the chills just talking about that, man.
I've heard people talk about it being more, not haunted, but more of like there's some kind of.
I've heard people talk about it being haunted. They've seen bodies hanging from
the
trees.
But I'm saying it's more of a dimensional thing. Like it can change in an instant where you think you are.
Yeah, it did feel kind of like a different time.
You know what I'm saying? It can throw you somewhere else and then, spit you back out somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it was pretty wild. I know that, man.
Yeah.
Dude, when we stepped on that path, it just was all stopped and it was dead silent. There was no sound of anything, dude. But I was like, we looked at each other and he was like, "Screw this, dude." Yep. We just walked all the way home. We walked from there to Black Oak, man, and that's a pretty long walk. But yeah, it took us like 2 hours to walk home.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed another strange and unusual.
Yes. Don't forget, like and subscribe.
Yes, always. And hit that bell. And if you guys have any stories you want to share, you're more than welcome to. Please do.
Yes, we would love that.
Yeah, we would love to read them on the air for you.
On our next Strange and Unusual, we'll probably have some pictures too from a cemetery that I got a hold of.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe.
Sounds good. So. All right. So we'll see you guys later.
All right. See you guys.